Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about wanting more. What if longing wasn't proof that you missed your moment, but a gentle call from your soul for arrival? What if being behind was just an old story, a map drawn by someone else's clock? What if the gates to your own becoming have always opened at the pace of your breath, not your busyness? This isn't a lesson, it's a recoding. Every sentence is designed to help your nervous system feel safe, while your soul starts to remember its worth. If you've ever stared at the ceiling, heart thumping, wondering if it's too late to change direction, to sing a new song, to let yourself want, this space is for you. If you've traveled 1,000 roads only to find yourself craving softness, peace, or that secret gold that no timeline can deliver, this episode will hold you. If you quietly ache for permission to begin now, to start again, to unfold in your own divine season, breathe. You are not the sum of your false starts or the pace of your breakthroughs. Stay with me even if you drift off before the words finish weaving. Let your heart hear this even if your eyes close. There is more than one way to listen. You don't have to listen closely. Just let the balm of this message surround you, soft as moonlight drifting over water, gentle as a garden returning in spring, inevitable as dawn finding the horizon, whether watched for or not. If the world ever convinced you that doors only open at a certain hour, that possibility runs out, that hope has an expiration date, let this be the gentle undoing of those rules. Every part of you arrives in its season. There is a current that carries you home, no matter how long you have wandered or circled or paused at the edge. There is no clock ticking down on your worth. No bell that rings to say becoming is over. If you cradle this idea gently, let it settle under your skin, your entire body may begin to relax. Notice the slow rise of breath within you, the steady pulse of life continuing, each second an open invitation. Notice how time softens when you no longer rush against it, how the future dissolves into presence when you let one soft truth in. If everything important waits for your readiness, what if readiness is just a softness, not a race? What if all that rushing, all those silent comparisons, all that wondering if you wasted too much time, only ever kept you away from this one peaceful return? Feel how safe change feels in the dark, when no one is looking. Feel the way your body remembers being enough, even before accomplishments and checklists. If the only thing needed now is rest, can rest be holy? If the only thing wanting to emerge is honesty, can honesty be your progress? As you settle into this moment, let your edges soften, your inner clock melt. There are lives within you that have never been late, only sleeping, waiting for your trust. Let the current of this episode carry you a little deeper, a little slower, dissolving the myth that the best of you is trapped behind a locked door or a distant deadline. If regret visits, let it rest quietly. No need to banish or heal it tonight. Just notice how even regret softens when met with unconditional presence. What if there was nothing to catch up to? No finish line you haven't seen yet. No list you failed to complete on time. Only the exact rhythm of your own heart, calling you back home to the extraordinary permission to start now. As you are, let any weight of pressure fall invisibly away. Not because you shouldn't feel it, but because something gentler is whispering underneath. A reminder that no dream expired, no door sealed shut, no true desire wasted by waiting. Even if your mind lingers on old timelines, even if your heart aches for what could have been, trust that every path you walked led you back here, back to now, overflowing with unseen abundance. Every breath is a seed for a new beginning. Every quiet sigh is a signal you are still becoming, still being called, still so deeply on time. There is no pressure now, only presence, only quiet return. You don't have to listen closely. Let it be easy tonight. Let the words wash over the tender, time-keeping part of you. Let your listening soften into being and simply rest. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is gentle, but it might untangle the deepest knots wound tight around your sense of time. There's a hush here, one that wraps itself softly around the anxious questions about where you're supposed to be, or how much further you should have gone by now. What if the race against the clock was never yours to begin? What if being on time meant something far different than what the world ever told you? What if the sense of being late was just a heartbreak borrowed from someone else's story? In this room, there's a subtler truth. In chronological time, the kind that ticks forward, numbers pages, and draws deadlines, is just an instrument, a measuring stick held up to a wild, infinite garden. But that garden has never rushed a blossom open. It has never blamed the seed for its season. This isn't a lesson, it's a recoding. Every whisper here is meant to cradle your nervous system softly, to let your whole being remember that it is not behind. Even the part that aches or doubts or quietly gasps for certainty. Here, permission flows like warm water, and the timeline of your life grows soft at the edges. If comparison has stung, if you've watched others gathering fruit while you are still sowing, if you've carried the shame of stillness, as if rest was a failure, if you've questioned whether your harvest will ever ripen, breathe. This entire episode is for the ones who felt their dreams slip through another calendar, who fear the doors closing, the windows missed, the chances that belonged to a braver version of themselves. Just for now, let those worries set down beside you. It is safe to listen from here. It's safe to want more room and more time than the schedule ever offered. So stay close. Even if you drift, even if the words blur, something inside you is still listening. Every sentence is a gentle offering, a balm, a soothing of the sharp static that keeps the mind from settling. There's nothing to solve. No need to strain to heal or fix. If you're exhausted from chasing milestones, if you've made your bed with self-doubt or wrestled with the ghost of wasted years, let this be the night you stop running. Not with willpower, not even by wanting to stop, but by letting a different kind of time cradle you here. You're written into the story at your own sacred pace, the unhurried pulse of presence. The sweet, slow unfolding that only happens beneath the clock, underneath what the world calls delay, in the soft miracle of enough. This is your space to lay down every uneasy measure of should have been there by now. To unclench from every role model's success and remember your own unique rhythm, the one that thrums in silence between thoughts, woven in and out with your breath. You don't have to listen closely. Let these words pool around you, as softly as dawn light seeping under a closed door. Let the truth in them find the places that ache, the places that still think they need to rush. You are not late. You are not less. You are not the sum of deadlines missed, opportunities slipped. You are the keeper of divine, unrushed time. Settle in, allow presence to soften the measuring mind, and let yourself be carried by a clock that never hurries, never shames, and has only ever been set to your own sacred arrival. There is a hush that falls just before dawn, a quiet so deep, it asks everything to soften. And in this quiet, a gentle truth waits beneath the surface. It was never too late, not for you. Most of the world has been taught to count their arrivals and departures like train schedules, ticking off milestones on an invisible clock, measuring joy against, should have, and almost. How many hearts have stayed awake agonizing over missed signals, doors closed, chances left behind in the dust of another's faster feet? There is an ache that grows when stories about time run wild, a myth, passed like heirloom, whispering that the best moment has already slipped by, that redemption is rationed, that doors only open to the early and the certain. Breathe here, let the weight loosen, let the pace slow. Because what if this myth, this silent tide pulling you toward shame, is only a trance? What if beneath all the chasing is a river so patient, it curves back for every lost traveler? Seasons do not resent the slowness of winter. They do not shame a blossom for unfurling after late frosts. The tide never apologizes for its own rhythm. It returns again, again, trusting the moon over any man-made bell. Trees take years beneath ground before they rise in green applause. Stars are ancient by the time their light touches the open palm of night. And still, the world waits, quietly devoted. So many try to outrun this gentler truth. Rushing, grasping, comparing, compressing their lifelines into narrow corridors of urgent achievement. In the mirror, the eyes search for proof that enough has been done, soon enough, young enough. The mind circles old timelines, old calendars, measuring softness against speed. This is the trance, living as if time is a strict judge, when really it is a quiet witness. Allow another breath, stretch the moment. Notice where pressure squeezes, where comparison tenses the jaw. Money, too, is wrapped in these ghost stories. We're told the window closes if wealth does not arrive quickly, that abundance only rewards the boldest and earliest moves. Yet, like rain pooling under the earth, some fortunes are slow to gather, finding their way through hidden channels until the roots are ready to drink. If the fruit arrives late in the season, is it less sweet? The body holds these stories, tension in the chest, a clenching around the heart, as if love itself expires or safety prefers the ones who rush. But bodies are sovereign in their unfolding, and healing can happen in the most unexpected seasons. The warmth that finds you after a long winter is not lesser, it is simply different, carrying a new wisdom. Let your heart open to this, just a bit more with each softening breath. Imagine, for a moment, a garden where every flower received sunlight at its own pace. Some seeds, still sleeping beneath dark soil, are not failures for their delay. They are learning the language of patience, gathering strength in silence. There is a kind of bravery in waiting, in trusting the invisible. Breathe. Is it possible that you, too, have been accompanied all along by an unseen timing, kind and benevolent, not ruled by the clock, but by the sacred movements of longing and return? Perhaps the doors that seemed to close were just gateways shifting, shaping you for greater passage. Perhaps nothing is truly lost, only rewritten in a form your waking mind cannot yet decipher. Let the wave of comparison subside. Notice how the tide always returns, not rushed, not late, only moving as it must. Love yields to no deadline, the heart learns in spiral seasons, not in straight lines. Some relationships arrive with the swiftness of spring, others unfold in the slow glow of autumn light. There is no single blooming, only a wild collection of unfoldings, each radiating in its own hour. A permission to set down the counting, the keeping up, the silent proof stacked against your soul. Every time you thought you were late, the universe was simply turning you toward the next sunrise. The stars you mistake for fading are only moving beyond view, circling faithfully, lighting other skies. Your timing is not broken, it is sacred. Notice what softens when you stop racing. Notice what opens when you let go of being on time, or behind, or in between. The breath slows, the body unwinds. In this softness, a new narrative begins to write itself inside you for you. With each inhale, imagine you are forgiven for every false deadline. With each exhale, feel the relief of not needing to rush. There is no authority outside your own soul's pace. There is only this slow remembering. The myth of too late is a story that was never yours to carry. Tides, seasons, roots, stars, all move on their own wisdom. And so do you. Let yourself drift as you are, and let each moment become spacious. What if the most abundant life is not urgent, but inevitable? Gradually surrender the trance of temporal shame. Melt into the presence that holds you patiently. Again and again and again, welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, yet its gentleness might unlock the part of you that's been holding your breath, wondering if you're already too late. What if every path you've wandered was preparing the soil for deeper roots, not proof that you've fallen behind? What if the moments you compare yourself, those silent calculations, were actually gentle reminders guiding you back to your own timing? What if every pause, detour, and meandering step was quietly reweaving a tapestry richer than anything urgency could promise? Here there's nothing to fix and no lesson to master. This isn't a test or a rushed reprogramming. What happens tonight is softer. Every sentence is shaped to help your body feel safely met, so your soul can remember its wholeness, independent of clocks, milestones, or outside approval. If you've ever measured your success in missed opportunities, or held quiet shame about not keeping pace with promises you once made to yourself, if you've undercharged, overdelivered, or questioned whether you're somehow behind, this space is for you entirely. So stay with me. You don't have to listen the whole way or hold on to every word. Even if sleep arrives gently, this truth will continue to hum beneath the surface, reminding you, you don't have to catch up. Just let what's here move around you. There is a hush, soft as moss, that falls when the mind finally asks, what if every wrong turn grew its own garden? The night collects all the places you once strayed, moments you thought misplaced, whole years that felt like wandering a forest with no path out. That old ache, the one that whispers you are lost, finds edges softening here. Most press forward, knuckles white on invisible steering wheels, breath choked with maps and milestone regret. Most shame the side roads for their wildness and waste. They tally up lost minutes, add up months spent in exile from the main thoroughfare, eyes squinting at what could have been had they stayed the straight course. But spirit knows another kind of longing, a deeper way of gathering. What if it was never about the milestones missed, but about the roots that grew exactly where you paused? What if every delay, each unexpected wilderness, quietly prepared the soil of your story for something whole and undivided? Let each inhale loosen the myth that only a speedy journey means success. Let the exhale empty timelines that were never truly yours. I feel the softness pooling, slow and holy, in spaces you wished you never entered. There, grace lingers longest. Most people ache to fast forward, brushing off dust from their detours, praying no one remembers. There is a grief that follows comparison, a heaviness that settles behind the eyes. Like travelers peering into windows they were never meant to enter, they imagine abundance left on tables elsewhere, longing sharpening into shame. Yet here, a gentle rearrangement pulses beneath your ribs. What if the days spent in exile, quiet, waiting, unseen, were the hidden chambers where endurance became wisdom, where longing cooked down to its sweetest syrup? What if sacred timing is not about being early to the gathering, but arriving after you have tasted your own company? Breathe out. Inhale the awareness that nothing is wasted in the wild places. To wander is to collect a different kind of abundance. Time itself slows, kneeling beside your footprints. The soul's wealth is not a sprint, but a procession, sometimes lost in fog, sometimes pausing beside a stream where nothing grows but patience. Even the fears that haunted you, cold breath on the back of your neck, lose their edges here in the soft dark. There are exiles written into every sacred text, nights outside the city walls, seasons hungering in the desert, voices echoing against stone. Yet it is always wilderness that teaches the tongue to pray softer, and hunger that shows the body its appetite for wonder. Allow your memory to meander alongside the years not lived on center stage. Let old ambitions, frayed and gentle, sit beside you like campfire smoke rising in the dusk. The fire is not wasted. The wandering is not failure. Not one detour suffers erasure in the accounting of spirit. Are you breathing deeper yet? Notice how the heart expands when permission is given to every lost hour. Suddenly, the pressure of hurry dissolves into something slower, more sacred. Every dollar worried over, every dream deferred, each night spent questioning your steps. These are not proof of absence, but evidence of a quiet accumulation. Trust returns as slow moss growing on fallen branches, unseen but inevitable. Pause. The detour has always been holy ground. Even if no one else saw you kneel there, the world tells a brittle story. That abundance is linear, only for the swift, only for those who never lost the trail. But the soul remembers. True gold is uncovered in the places left unplanned, in the moonlit moments where you forgave yourself for being away from the crowd. Where love felt quiet, almost invisible, it often seeped deepest, through cracks in timing, through missed trains and empty rooms. Where safety was uncertain, new anchors formed in the shape of your own kindness. Let every so-called wrong turn become a candle now, lighting parts of you the main road could never reach. What if the lessons learned in silence required nothing but your presence? What if the path you thought was lost has always circled back to a center deeper than any destination? Time only stings when measured by what was missed. Turn now toward the slow rhythm of enough. You have lived lifetimes within a single question. Am I behind? But the deeper current has always whispered, stay, taste, bless this moment, even the ones that ache. Presence is the soil where abundance multiplies. There's no summit you've missed, no door locked that your detour cannot open, no wealth of experience wasted in becoming who you truly are. Every exile, every delayed arrival, writes wisdom into your bones. What grew wild and unwanted now roots into peace. The night is thick with grace, and even fallout is fertile. Let that truth echo. With every breath, surrender another story about being too slow, too late, too strange to arrive. Let yourself rest, not waiting, not hurrying, just resting, deep in the wilderness, where something precious unfolds at the pace of trust. Pause here as long as you need. The detour never asked for your apology, only for your attention. Nothing is lost. Nothing could ever be missing that wasn't destined to bring you home. There is a moment in the hush right before surrender, where the ache of needing to hurry slowly dissolves. Sometimes, when the world spins and invitations to rush appear behind every corner, the body contracts, almost without permission. The mind searches for milestones and clocks, asks, why not sooner? Why not me? Why this waiting? Most of us learned to measure life by the brittle markings of urgency, chasing markers moving ever further from the heart's true timeline. The messages came early, didn't they? The whispers of fall behind and you're forgotten. The certainty of act now or it's gone. But urgency is not your true inheritance. Abundance, real abundance, moves at the speed of trust. There were years spent hoop jumping, timelines mapped in hours, months, quarters, eras, chasing numbers like loose coins on a windy street, building towers from to-do lists that wobbled each time the soul called for rest, reaching, stretching, grabbing for something just out of grasp, breath held, sleep forsaken, pause here. Feel the gentle pull of something softer. What if every delay was sacred ground in disguise? What if each held breath, each pause, was a quiet invitation to receive the next layer of yourself? Most of the world is wired for perfection, for proof of progress before the proof of presence. We're taught to edit spirit out of the process, to compress wonder into busyness, trade mystery for a daily report card. And can you feel in the small trembling of your chest how unnatural this pressure has been? The old stories tell of windows slammed shut, missed by a fraction, haunted by a heartbeat, but spirit moves in circles, not lines. In seasons, not sprints. In deep exhalations, not in frantic gasps. Let the old urgency loosen, as if unwrapping a scarf from around your neck. Slowly, with reverence for each knot it once held. Allow breath to guide you now. Inhale, as though inhaling ease itself. Exhale, as if letting go of every age-old reason to force, to tense, to grit your way forward. The urgency felt so real once. The pressure, the silent measuring up. The invisible ruler scraped across your spirit's quiet growth. What if those timelines, those finish lines you tried to cross, were only mirages? A garden does not bloom because it is hurried. Wounds close in quiet darkness, not under fluorescent lights. Fruit ripens in cradled time, not rushed from green to gold. If there are pages missing from your story, if certain seasons feel barren, rest, trust. The script is always building toward your fullness, not your scarcity. Sometimes the soul steeps longer in its fertile soil. Sometimes roots weave quietly while the world peers above for early blooms. Let that be enough for now. The roots know their own timing. Notice now where the urgency lives in your body. Throat tight, chest fluttering, jaw set. Let softness arrive, cell by cell, breath by breath. Each inhale, permission, each exhale, release. What if there is no race? No prize for arriving first, or constructing a perfect narrative, or checking every box before resting. The urgency to have it all, to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you are worthy. What if that's only a borrowed spell? Release, one more layer now, a memory uncoiling from your sternum, a belief tumbling out with the breath. You are the only timeline that matters to the life living through you. No clock outside you holds more authority than the quiet unfolding within. Around you, the world will keep shouting, accelerating, early birds and late bloomers, overnight successes, distant deadlines, new beginnings plastered on blinking screens. Let them pass. Let the noise blur to stillness. Here, slowness is wisdom. Every spiritual teaching holds the sacred delay. The desert walk before the vision arrives, the night watch before the dawn returns, the seasons of retreat before the spring. Every delay carries an initiation, an expansion of capacity, a deepening of self-regard, a softening to life in all its textures. With every patient inhale, remember, abundance is not a finish line. It does not shrink when you step aside or abandon those who wander. Linger now in this in-between. The perfection was never in the pace or the end. It is written in the presence. The willingness to stay, to listen, to kneel at the altar of what's here. If you have feared missing your portal, outgrowing your dream, or falling behind, let this be the night the spell dissolves. There are no portals shutting, no ships sailing without you, no doors locking as you pause to breathe. Soften your jaw, rest your hands, let your heart slow its flutter to a gentle, steady hum. Every breath calls your worth back home, every exhale a reclamation. Every pause a silent miracle revealing the next golden step, just as you are. Take another deep breath. Now, release every need to know, every urge to answer imaginary clocks, every ache to prove your pace. Stay in this softness a little longer, allow the urgency to ebb, to unmake its home within you. Divine timing holds you now, and there is nowhere else to be. Not yet. Not ever. Sometimes, the quietest truth floats in on the end of a long, tired breath. No one is born believing that rushing makes life more sacred. Yet somewhere along the way, so many gentle souls are taught that worth is something you earn by keeping up. You are not here to exhaust all your light chasing uncatchable timelines. Some believe that joy is reserved for those who always outrun their own stillness. But what if the truest reverence lives right here in slowing down? What if resting your hustle is an act of trusting your source? You have been told to measure yourself against calendars, to string your worth along a line of unticked boxes and missed opportunities. You're not alone in this. Almost everyone has tried to trade presence for productivity, thinking one would one day buy the other. All around you, the world seems to reward those who rush, who prove, perform, press forward, and so their hearts drum louder. Their minds coil tighter, chasing the next bright promise, the next notch on someone else's ladder. But quietly, beneath all that urgency, there is a memory waiting to be felt, the sense that you aren't running out of anything real. What if behind every frantic hour and every anxious list, there's a gentle invitation, a space that hums? You do not need to hurry to be holy. You don't have to run to reach the sacred. Every time you compare your path to someone else's, a little miracle goes unnoticed in your own. Your timeline is not a race track. It's a garden pulling water up from deeper ground. There is no missed harvest when you water your spirit with attention instead of approval. Allow that awareness to drift through again and again. The sacred arrives in moments that ask nothing from you but your presence. Every inhale is a full return. Each exhale lets go of rush. Lets go of the myth that more speed leads to more magic. So many people try to earn their safety by outrunning their doubts. They tally money, love, or peace by what stays on the list. But if you pause, just here, you notice. Worth is not measured by how much you accomplish in the eyes of others. Breathing out, the need to prove. Breathing in the memory that presence is the entryway every single time. You do not have to force or chase or squeeze yourself into someone else's definition of ready. The world's timelines are woven from urgency, but your soul's timeline is stitched in the fabric of enoughness, over and over, pure and gentle. In the quiet rhythm of your own heart, you begin to see. Arrival was never far. Arrival could only be felt, not finished. Some will spend lifetimes waiting for the next breakthrough, for some faraway permission to rest. But tonight, you feel a soft permission blooming, a sense that there is nothing out there to catch up with. You do not have to hurry to meet your destiny. It was never hiding in the pace of someone else's footsteps. Presence is your sanctuary. Returning is your superpower. When you pause, when you allow, when you soften your grip, and let ambition rest beside you for just a while, a different abundance enters. In every area, money, love, belonging, time, the wealth you seek is quietly expanding in the space you let yourself truly be. There is room now for your nervous system to remember. Safety was never about completion, but about connection. What if the softness of this night becomes the opening you always longed for? What if falling behind is only the mind's illusion, and your soul was simply letting you catch your breath? Let the winding down repeat, again and again. You are moving at the perfect velocity for your spirit's unfolding. If your heart aches when you see someone else's harvest before yours, breathe. You have not missed your moment. The seed has not forgotten its promise, because another flower has opened first. You do not have to strain, the real riches reveal themselves in the spaces you were once afraid to slow into. Every sacred thing expands in gentleness. The way day stretches quietly into night, the way rivers widen by surrendering to the valley, not by scraping out a channel through force. What if you believed this? The more you rest in this moment, the wider your abundance grows. You are not behind, you are not late. The idea of running out was never yours to begin with. Presence returns you. Presence anchors you. Presence welcomes your soul home. You do not have to hurry. You do not have to run. Here in deep arrival, you touch enoughness in a way you never could while sprinting past your own heart. Let yourself linger in this soft mercy. Let your breath lead, not your deadlines. Let every inhalation bring you back to your original richness, long before you learned to compare, before you measured, before you doubted. There is nothing lost. There is no sacred moment that outpaces your willingness to be here. Now the portal opens again and again, in presence. This is where you touch the true abundance, the sacred that can never be rushed. You do not have to rush, the door opens for you. You are safe to rest in this pace. You are allowed to settle into this slow, beautiful unfolding. You do not have to hurry. Presence is your portal. Rest. Let go. Arrive, and watch how everything beautiful finds you right here. There is a hush that arrives, softer than dawn on quiet pastures. A silence so deep it gathers every worry and without judgment asks them to rest beside your bed tonight. In that hush, nothing is broken. In that quiet, the path is not lost. Sacred rest is not an escape. It is the gentle chamber where the truth of becoming is finally allowed to breathe. How rare it seems to lay the body down, not as surrender to defeat, but as invitation for remembering. How quickly the world urges movement. The endless scroll, the ticking clock, the arithmetic of achievement, always forwarding, always faster, as if wisdom could be wrenched from the bones of exhaustion. Most cradle their longing in busy hands, fingers tracing the next rung on a ladder made of shoulds and almosts, eyes wide to the ceilings of what-ifs, counting missed chances like sheep that never come home, even now. The heart races sometimes in the night, measuring worth in hours spent striving, in progress visible to others. How loudly hustle sings, even when the soul whispers for shelter. But what if the richest lives are not measured by acceleration, but by the slow, quiet intervals where nothing must be proved? Let this breath settle between ribs. Let it curl into the spaces behind your eyes. Heroes aren't born in storms of demand. They awaken in the waiting, in fields without urgency, under skies that hold every possibility and ask nothing in return. Can you picture a shepherd resting in golden grasses? Eyes half closed, the flock humming in the dusk, a crook laid down, trust fanned out like gentle fireflies across the meadow. All protection, all presence, no forcing, only keeping. The soul is not a machine to wind up or a horse to be broken. It is a vast night sky, stretching beyond horizon and memory, and quietly gathering new light even while the world is asleep. Breathe. The deepest alchemy happens when muscles loosen, when jaws unlock, when the mind drifts without harness or bridle. Isn't it strange? How true revelations visit in twilight, in bath water, in the hush after laughter, in the softness between hands entwined. Every garden is made in the dark before bloom. Every child grows root deep before meeting the sun womb-like. The soul thickens with dreams in the absence of alarm. Consider that maybe becoming is less about forging, more about remembering, less about sprinting, more about finding where rest gives rise to vision. A safe space now, as if the universe, wide and maternal, wraps you in soft cloth and whispers, all things arrive in their season. Release any notion that your pace is a punishment. Let go of every timeline that wasn't seeded in love. Imagine abundance not as a finish line, but as the warmth in the chest during a rain-soaked evening, the gentle acceptance that everything that truly belongs to you can never miss its moment. There is nowhere you need to hurry. You are not a heart running races. You are a tide that comes home exactly when the moon invites you. Pause here. Notice how your breath finds its own rhythm when no one is listening for answers. Perhaps trust grows most quietly, like the hush before a snowfall, like the pause before a great symphony. Presence is the fertile field. Abundance is never born of pressure, but of presence now. Picture the stars above, each one its own story patiently unfolding, undisturbed by clocks or comparison, no two ever rush. They shine as they are, each held by the night's vast permission. Let your body believe it is safe to drift, let the heart unclench. The world can wait. Maybe the only thing truly wasted is the chance to rest inside your own becoming. Tonight, you tend to that garden with every quiet inhale. Money, too, flows to those who move in harmony with what is sacred. Not through force, but through a magnetism that arrives in stillness. A lover does not chase. They invite, they breathe, they trust the beloved to find their way home. In this rest, something ancient within you remembers, a time when simply being was enough, when the womb of existence sheltered every need without question or price. Allow this pause to become your sanctuary. Imagine every muscle unfurling, heavy and safe, as if you are being rocked in the arms of something vast and benevolent, and breathe. Again and again, presence is the prism. Rest is the revolution. Who you are becoming needs only this: silence, softness, space to unfurl without hurry. Stay a while. The world will wait. The soul, when rested, remembers everything she thought she'd lost. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about being on time in your life. What if the rhythm of your becoming is not delayed, but freshly unfolding, touched by a wisdom older than clocks? What if everything that felt paused is only preparing you in silence, like roots unseen, weaving deeper before the blossom? What if life's gentle hush is not absence, but the sound of something ripening, just out of sight, not out of reach? This isn't a lesson, it's a recoding. Every sentence is designed to help your nervous system feel safe, while your soul starts to remember its worth. Tonight, we're not rushing towards some finish line. We're loosening the tight grip of hurry, the old ache of behind. Letting the ache drift, as every breath reminds your body there is no wasted moment. It's only preparation. Here hush finds you, offering a warmth like morning sun inching over a field, slow, certain, unhurried. If you've ever wondered if you missed a doorway or doubted your timing, wishing you could leap ahead, this entire episode is here for you to unravel the story that says you should be farther, faster, more. If the world has ever convinced you that abundance is a race, or that miracles come only for those who hustle hard enough, let the notion melt, just for now. Tonight, we're rewriting the script. Breathing space around the shadows of comparison, weaving room for relief. Rest in the truth that every fruit ripens in its hour, that sometimes all delay has ever been is gentle preparation. So stay with me. Even if you drift off, the truth will still reach you. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is gentle, yet might softly upend what you think you know about timelines and becoming. What if not every mask you've worn was yours to begin with? What if taking off what pinches, what never truly fit, lets your spirit unfurl? What if those borrowed costumes of success could simply slip to the floor here? You're not being corrected, you're being rewoven. Every slow sentence is a balm, letting your body relax while your soul recognizes itself beneath expectations that never belonged. If you've ever measured yourself by somebody else's mile markers or wondered if you lost your chance, these words are meant for your still, listening heart. Stay present even as you drift. Every note will find you, reshaping old worries into quiet trust. There is nothing you need to hold onto tonight, just let your thoughts settle. Let this remembrance envelop you, and know you are already arriving. There is a quiet knowledge, breathing underneath the noise of forgetting. What if every restless fear of being lost, every ache of seeming behind, is just the shell holding something ancient and gentle inside? Some knowings are not learned but remembered. In the marrow, most carry this silent ache of misdirections. Of comparison, like gnawing winter winds, the mind tries to tally up the years, pit timelines against timelines, ache against hunger, wondering, did I stray too far? Did I miss my chance? Am I only a seed left in shadow, while everyone else has become a towering oak overnight? The world invites us to hurry, to replant ourselves again and again, each new trend a new grove, each new strategy a desperate reaching for sunlight. We forget the soil that remembers us. We force open the tender green, hoping to become what we have not yet rooted. The tree does not fear the slow spiral of its own growth. The seed does not compare itself to the forest, it rests, swaddled in the warm dark. Knowing something inevitable is being woken through soft surrender. Even now, the pulse beneath your ribs remembers its rhythm. In money, in love, in the places where safety felt scarce and time felt vanishing. What if the real loss was the forgetting? Not the missing, not the delay, not the wrong turns, but the old habit of doubting that the deeper nature of you has ever stopped humming its blueprint. Breathe. Inhale the possibility that your path is older than your plans. What if every time you felt off track was really a return, misunderstood? Each doubt a leaf unfurling, not the sign of failing, but of remembering what soft sunlight means again. People learn to measure themselves by harvests not their own. Some look across fields and wonder why their roots ache. The soil underfoot, steady and quiet, knows every name. There is so much rushing in the world of wanting. More money, more certainty, more approval. Timelines stretch and snap, the self contracts, tense with worry, comparing petals to branches, roots to air. Let something soften in you. What if pace is not punishment but permission? The seed may seem still, but endless histories are alive within. Gently return to the question, Who would I become if I trusted my own season? If identity was not a mask I make, but a memory I unwrap, notice your breath, the soft steadiness of being held. Notice the space between heartbeats, where patience unfolds like roots in quiet earth and every path winded. Every dream detoured is not proof of failure, only the unwinding of an ancient map. Money lost, love delayed, second chances left unopened. What if they are not proof of lack, but signals of realignment, like rain softly calling the seed deeper before it rises? Rest. There is a presence beneath striving. There is an ancestry of wisdom in your longing across time. The greatest forests began as seeds that trusted winter, trusted darkness. I trusted the blueprint pressed into them before the first sunlight. Do you remember a time before you worried? A time when desire was not burden but birthright. There is a current that carries you still. Drop the weight of timelines not yours. Exhale the panic of falling behind. Notice the ease of breath in, breath out. Each inhale permission, each exhale a homecoming. The seed becomes tree not by force, but by remembering which way is up. Your spirit, too, worships gravity and grace. It knows the slow spiral of becoming. It trusts the unseen. Every desire, every disappointment, invitations for roots to find a new water, a deeper soil in money, the urge to clutch and hoard in love, the fear of missing, the ache of waiting in safety, the frantic search for signs of blooming. It is all memory working its way back to faith. Breathed again, there is room for delay. There is sanctuary in going home to your pace. If you have forgotten yourself, know that forgetting is only half the journey. The rest is remembering the shape you once were, the shape you have always been. What if longing is just your soul's way of archiving the path home? What if each lost day and twisted route, each missed mark, is only an echo, not punishment, not proof of being lost, but a softer call back to the truth? Underneath every fear of being behind there is a memory waiting to be watered. Let it anchor gently with breath. You have always been the seed that remembers the trees. That blueprint cannot be lost, only listened for, only softened into, only remembered on the longest nights. Let this remembering cradle you now, as you drift, as you root, as you trust again in what has always known where to take you. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about missing your moment. What if the gates are still open, even if you wandered far? What if mercy outlives merit, and exile was just a story whispered by fear? What if every step you took away was only another way home? This isn't a lesson. It's a recoding. Every sentence is designed to help your nervous system feel safe, while your soul starts to remember its worth. If you've ever felt left behind, questioned your purpose, or wondered if the opportunity has passed, this entire episode is for you. So stay with me. Even if you drift off, the truth will still reach you. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. There is a certain ache that wakes quietly inside the chest, that old whisper, wondering if too many hours have slipped through gentle hands, if somehow the golden coins of now were left unspent, scattered, or lost in the long corridors of comparison. Beneath eyelids heavy with memories, a question stirs: was there a secret vault somewhere I never found? Did all those days add up to anything, or am I left with a purse of emptiness? So much of the world, so much of the grown-up heart, paces in the shadow of clocks, brows furrowed, backs hunched, counting backwards and forwards, sorting through what was done or not, won or missed, marking themselves by the brittle hourglass. It is so easy, almost automatic, to measure life by what the eye can see, to open imaginary ledgers and tally the visible yields, to mistake silence for absence, and dormancy for loss, to forget that the most precious currency is almost always hidden from the mind that is racing. But what if deep in the treasury of your soul, every moment is stored, not lost? Every pause, every wandering, every sidestep and slow return, gathered, accounted for, and multiplied in invisible ways beyond the reach of daylight tallying. What if the ways you grieved, the seasons you rested, the hours you doubted, all became deposits in a vault no one else can see? Every hesitation, a seed in the soil, accumulating interest in the storehouse of becoming, in the hush that lingers before sleep. Breathe. Sense how easy it is to feel late, behind, outpaced, as if everyone else has already cashed their checks with destiny, and you are left pacing the marble floors of a silent bank, clutching nothing but hope. Yet let the hush deepen. Imagine now that behind every closed door, behind every seeming delay, there is a chamber, lined wall to wall with treasure, layers of gold and silver, precious stones and scrolls of ancient wisdom, each piece engraved with the moments you thought were wasted. A morning lost in longing, a year spent learning to trust, an apology finally spoken, a risk never taken, the softness of breathing through another night. Before you tried to rush ahead, before you measured worth in milestones, there was a time when simply showing up, being present, letting life mold you, was the currency. Pause here. Let the breath move gently through the body. Imagine the velvet quiet of a grand vault opening. Just for you, the world so often demands withdrawals before you have seen your own balance. It expects proof of progress before celebrating the quiet dividends of patience. But in this soft accounting, backed not by insistent schedules but by sacred trust, there is recognition. The time has not slipped through. It has been gathering, like water beneath the ground, swelling into an underground river, like jewels forming in the dark, under silent pressure, learning the language of light, like songbirds gathering at dawn within a forest. You will someday wander through at just the right moment. There is an inheritance tried to be measured by calendars, but the truest inheritance is boundless. The treasury of the spirit is replenished in silence. Sometimes nothing seems to change on the surface, yet vast reserves are accumulating just out of sight. Let regret soften here. Inhale and imagine every sigh, every longing for a different story, dispersing like dust, revealing polished marble, inscribed with all the lessons only you could gather. What if falling short was only the mind's story? What if every detour and gentle delay was weaving an unseen account, layer on layer, a gold-leafed record of presence, patience, and silent becoming? So many compare their harvest to another's spring. So many look at the surface of things, the interest accrued in loud, public ways, and forget that the heart's wealth grows in shadows, grows quietly, grows deep. Take this breath as a deposit. Each inhale is a receipt for moments well spent. Each exhale, a transaction, trading old shame for recognition of what is truly yours, what was never at risk. The mind loves to collect evidence of being behind. The heart learns over time a subtler arithmetic, the kind that cannot be measured by clocks or compared by ledgers. At night, when the world is silent and the pace finally relents, you can begin to feel it. It's the swelling tide of unlived lives within you, the inheritance waiting to be noticed, like a letter hidden under a pillow, like a coin tucked into the lining of a coat, like a key placed long ago in your sleeping hand. Breathe deeper now. The vault is not empty, it is full to overflowing. There is more spiritual currency within than you have ever accounted for, waiting for the moment you realize the wealth of presence, the richness of being, the countless dividends accruing in the sleep chambers of your soul. Let go of hurry for tonight. Let the endless chase for proof and the heavy arithmetic of regret dissolve, atom by atom. Imagine, if you wish, a hallway of safes, each one labeled with a story you once believed was lost. Let them open quietly, one by one, revealing not loss, but a wealth of invisible returns, the kind that can only be witnessed here. In the gentle dark, the mind may say, "It's too late." The spirit always knows, nothing is wasted. Every minute, every yearning, every season of waiting, it was all deposited, all multiplying, all waiting in the treasury of time. Let yourself sink deeper, as if into a bed lined with gold threads. As if the act of resting is itself an inheritance being drawn upon. As if, tonight, you are wealthier for having paused, for having dared to believe that nothing precious has been lost, only waiting to be remembered in the quiet. A slow awakening of dawn. Exhale gently, as if releasing a fortune back into the vault, safe, untouched, awaiting your gentle claim. The treasury is full. The story is still unfolding. Nothing is missing. Rest here in divine abundance. It's gentle, the way memory lies just beneath dreaming, a soft pulse behind your eyelids, asking if anything could have gone differently. With every inhale, there's an old echo, maybe it could have been more, sweeter, faster, easier. It's nearly invisible, how most wanderers clutch the ache of time unlived, fruit that fell before ripening, love unopened, corners of abundance never quite reached. It settles like a mist, not heavy, but persistent. And so many, maybe even you, have learned to gather up regret and cradle it as evidence, as if proof that something precious slipped through trembling fingers, as if missteps meant grace left you, alone in the half-light of before. But tonight, gently, as you breathe, it will touch everything you once called wasted, and see if it will sing a different song beneath softer hands. Most have been taught to measure their lives on a straight timeline numbered by achievements, rationed by youth, hurried by scarcity clocks unheard but always ticking. Most learn quietly and too young to chase redemption in what might have been, to count impulse as error, rest as a setback, doubt as a detour. In a world of high noon, the dim spaces are ignored and the lost years are banished. It's common in this hush before midnight to think of yourself as one who lost their golden hours, a caterpillar expecting to be blamed for not being a butterfly soon enough, a seed buried deep, feeling forgotten by spring. So breathe gently now, feel how comparison breathes quick, but your soul steadies slow. What if every detour was a roadmap traced in invisible ink, revealed only at dusk? What if every so-called misstep carried you to the banks of a secret river, one only the courageous ever cross? There's a soft alchemy in regret, if you let it linger without judgment, a turning like compost that returns what's fallen to origin's soil, making space for the wildest abundance. Grace didn't leave you when plans frayed. It wove new bridges, sometimes blind, but always strong enough. Even the wasp-nested seasons, even the chapters written in invisible ink, even the nearly forgotten versions of self, were gathering light in the dark. Stars forming in the nebula where you only saw night. Softly, let your chest rise, let the breath remind you. Nothing was wasted, not the eager beginnings that fizzled, nor the open doors you didn't walk through, nor the hours spent in slow recovery. Every version of you, even the hesitant ones, even the uncertain and weary, held the torch of continuity, like roots running beneath winter's freeze, gathering quiet wisdom for spring. Let's linger where most only glance. Let's honor the silent rehearsals, the invisible work, the mourning of what never became. These are the places wealth comes to nest, gentle and unseen, until you feel safe enough to receive. Let regret become reverence now. Feel the shift, like turning rainwater into wellspring, like fallen leaves feeding a grove, like an old song threading its way back into a new melody. There's money that moves in curves, not lines, wealth that arrives while you dream, cycling through all that seemed lost. Trust that some fortunes grow slow, deep-rooted and unseen, preparing for a harvest you didn't know how to name. Breathe into that gentler timing. If ever you worried you wasted love, notice how empty arms were always just practicing how to hold more, how abeyance made you thirsty, how longing made you spacious. What if devotion reconfigures itself, time after time, waiting for you to feel worthy enough to receive the full measure you once mourned? Rest into this. Even safety, sometimes paused or threatened, grew new boundaries inside every old fear. The walls you thought trapped you were compost, dissolving so richer foundations could form. Remember the feeling of being on the edge of too late. Notice how real that anxiety once seemed, yet how every flowering field begins deep within darkness, every gold vein buried in stone, every galaxy born from shadow's cradle. Let yourself exhale, let the thought of being behind dissolve into the current of presence. Every time line you said, "I missed it," imagine a softly whispering guide rewriting your story. No, nothing was lost, nothing disregarded. Part simply waiting in dark, the way a pearl forms beneath layers unseen, the way a forest lives in the promise of a seed asleep. Notice now the turning of your story, not as a series of missed opportunities, but as 1,000 contiguous bridges, built by hands that never gave up, even when invisible. Each chapter was a lantern, each pause became an invitation to deeper roots, every almost, a breadcrumb back to your most sovereign self. If your heart feels slow tonight, good. Let presence be the real wealth. Let the ache gently loosen in your chest. Trust in what is holding you. Trust what unfolds, even in the quiet, even in the dark. Every breath is a reminder that nothing, not one moment, not one hope, not one loss was wasted. Rest here a little longer, until you feel the reverence settling, until what was once regret glows softly, sanctified in the quiet garden of becoming. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is soft, but it might loosen something deep in the place where you carry old hurry and what-ifs. What if every longing wasn't a deadline, but a doorway opening, gently, at your own true pace? What if you'd never missed your moment, not even once, and all that time you thought you'd lost was gathering you, shaping you patiently, the way oceans round their stones? What if there was no such thing as being behind, only belonging to your own season, your own silent unfolding? This isn't a lesson. It's a recoding, gently woven for your softest midnight self. Each word is here to cradle your nervous system, as your soul listens, quietly remembering, you've never fallen off your path. If you've ever watched someone else's highlight, questioning whether you squandered yours, if you've lain awake, replaying crossroads, wondering if you let life's sweetness slip past you, if any part of you still tightens at the thought of wasted days or wrong turns, then this is yours to receive, without effort, without having to earn. Tonight, all you're invited to do is rest, and let yourself be slowly rethreaded with the kind of trust that grows patiently, like roots that know the rain will always come. So stay with me. Drift if you want to, let your mind wander. You do not have to chase a single word. The truth will find you, even in sleep. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you, like breath, like dusk, like calm returning at the end of wanting. There is a quiet kind of magic alive in rest, a silent weaving that begins only when the outer noise falls away. Sometimes, without knowing, the deepest work of returning to yourself is happening when the world believes nothing is happening at all. It is here, beneath the hush, where new frequencies hum in the cracks. Even now, as your body finds stillness, something ancient inside you is repairing the threads. Most people grow impatient with silence. They crave rigid proof, the marks of progress, proof of momentum. When there is no music yet, when the room is just tune-up and breath, the human mind questions, doubts, counts missed shots. Most try to force the bloom before spring's return. They tug at the soil, searching for grain where the earth just asks to be left alone. But softness is a kind of wealth, too. The hush is never empty. A field in winter is not dead, just dreaming of its own return. Bones do not rush their mending. Even the most reckless winds cannot make a song from untuned strings. And so, here you are, perhaps wondering what is healing, what is shifting when you feel so quiet or even numb. The mind is trained to see pause as a problem, but your frequency never truly stagnates. Even as life appears untouched, subtle signals restitch your resonance. New melody gathers in places not even you can name. Layer by layer, silence tilts toward song. Breathe with what is unseen. Imagine your system, body, mind, and field, like an instrument in the dim workshop of a trusted artisan. Not every day is a concert. Some nights, the only job is to loosen, to uncoil the tension, to allow cracked wood to remember its smooth edge. The instrument remembers itself tenderly, in secret, while the world moves on. The more you surrender to this restoration, the truer its tone when the time for music returns. Let your thoughts feel the way a forest feels at first thaw. Nothing obvious yet, still everything underway. Roots sipping new water far below, even if the branches look unchanged. What you're rebuilding is not always visible, not to those who expect spectacle. A true alignment, the real return to resonance, happens in whispers in nights like these. Notice how the air holds you, softer than yesterday, new notes waiting. There is no need to chase the next version of you. This is not falling behind. This is the sanctuary where quiet outshines hustle. Can you trust that a garden is growing even as you stand where last year's petals sleep? Release the urge to diagnose, to fix, to hurry. Pause again. Let each muscle untangle like midnight waves, smoothing a shore abandoned at dusk. The tide does not demand proof of its return. It trusts in the promise that it always does. Broken bones do not will themselves hold through force. They are cared for, cradled in patience. Your energetic repairs, your deep inner tuning are just as worthy of gentleness. There is no shame in quieter seasons. In this world built on rush, what if your softness is the most sacred currency? Imagine all the places your energy flows tonight, back to old dreams, to forgotten strengths, to new belief. Each rest is a pledge to self-forgiveness. Each sigh, a clearing for what will bloom next. Others may have taught you that silence was the enemy of progress. But what if integration hides in stillness? Like the tuning fork that sings only into a silent room, your field is arranging itself with precision, with purpose, with cosseted care. Every unmet moment, every stretch of emptiness is echoed somewhere as a quiet rebuilding. Softness births depth. Slow mending makes space for grace. As you release the pressure, you return to a raw remembering. Night holds you now. Your life is still alive, even where you cannot measure its growth. Trust the symphonies imagined between concerts, the silent study before sacred keys are pressed. Trust the pulse in the dirt before green dares to show. And trust the soft crack as bone seals itself in the dark. The world honors loudness, but spirit celebrates the repair that requires only breath and trust. There was never a race. Each frequency rebuilds in perfect private time. You are not behind, you are underwater, being refined. You are roots threading deeper, gaining ground even when the surface stays the same. You are the instrument, learning its richest timbre in the slow hands of the divine. Trust the silence. Let it surround you. Let it rebuild you. Only the soul can hear how whole you are becoming, even now. Breathe in, allowing your field to reweave itself, strand by golden strand. Exhale the myth of lost time. In this gentle quiet, everything is mending, recalibrating, preparing to resonate in a new way. All you need now is patience with your own becoming. Rest, this is enough. Rest, there is more happening than your mind can ever see. Rest, your frequency is rebuilding here in all this healing hush. There's a hush, somewhere deep, under the way things move, a silence that arrives before the urge to demonstrate or declare. Somewhere inside, beneath every urge to measure or prove, a softer question waits. What if enoughness isn't contingent on all the things you demonstrate or the progress you parade? Most people, when evening falls, carry the day's tally into darkness, counting what was done, what could have been more, what went unseen or unoffered. The mind reviews invisible ledgers, achievements stacking like stones, some skipped, some gathered, some sinking out of reach. The heart keeps pace, sometimes missing the soft hush beneath it all. Performance is a habit handed down gently, sometimes fiercely, a thread woven through school, work, friendship, even love. Hustle makes itself a bed beside longing, whispering, "Show me you matter, show me your proof." Even nighttime, in its velvet wisdom, can echo this call to movement. The body stiffens as if every bone must account for itself. The breath shortens, not because of danger, but from the old, well-worn memory that value comes only through evidence. But what if no more proof is asked of you tonight? What if no one is watching, or measuring, or waiting? Let your breath answer that question before your mind tries to fill the silence. Inhale and let pressure gather at the top. Exhale and let it pool at your feet. There is a world just beyond perception, where nothing is owed, where you exist because you exist, not because you built or justified or demonstrated. A presence alone is enough to summon new tenderness into every corridor of life. If you listen close, the tired stories of not having done enough start to soften. They become mist, rolling quietly across the fields of your mind. See how they drift and lose their sharpness. See how even regret slows and quiets in this gentle darkness. Every so often, the mind tugs again. Were you productive enough? Did you use your time? Will you be okay now? Let those questions drift, like leaves on water, like stars whose light arrived centuries ago, like shoes left at the door of a restful room. Nothing in this room on this night needs explanation. Not your pace, not your path, not your pauses. There is not a single judge in the hush that this moment offers, only relief, swelling quietly in the lungs. It is so easy, in a world spinning for proof, to believe you must spin too. People everywhere grip tightly to the script, celebrating only forward motion, shaming detours, fearing stillness. They ask, where are you now? not to know your heart, but your position in some invisible race. They ask, "What is your strategy?" before they've even asked, "How is your soul resting?" You're allowed to surrender that narrative, each tight thread, each tired expectation, to the tender part who still aches for visible progress. Breathe out slowly, gently. Notice what remains when strategy is set down, when forwardness is unneeded. There is a different kind of alchemy, one that does not require performing for worth. It asks nothing of you but to be. Imagine abundance arriving not as reward, but as recognition that you were never lacking, only longing. That presence itself, this quiet, sensing, resting, is the most divine proof of all. So somewhere along the old timelines, you might have learned to shrink when the world could not see your building. You slowed your steps or hurried them to match a clock that was never set for your reality. Breathe here. The clock dissolves, time snows backward, then melts altogether, leaving only this soft, unhurried breath. Let safety replace the old urge. Safety in being, safety in not rushing, not defending, not entertaining the performance trap. What if someone saw you, not for how much you have grown, but for the miracle of your existence at all? What if you saw yourself, still holy, still radiant, even when you're wandering or still or circling back? Each inhale arrives with that permission. Each exhale releases the record keeping. Some will always be searching for empirical things, numbers, timelines, lines drawn straight, but not presence. Presence lives outside the frame, outside the calendar, outside the justifications that keep life so narrow. Tonight, you can practice occupancy in your own life. No explanation is required, no tally is requested. Rest in the knowing that your tempo, your pauses, your absences, and your returns, all of them are welcome. If the urge arises again to measure or announce, let it meet a slower, older wisdom. What if the richest moments of your life have been the ones that went unseen, undocumented, unpublicized? Let yourself gather those invisible riches, the quiet days, the half-finished songs, the undelivered words, the patient waiting. Those are proof beyond proof. Let each memory settle like dust motes swirling in golden light, like embers fading in a safe hearth, like secrets held by ancient trees. There is wholeness here in the gentle unclenching. There is value, untagged, unpriced. Every breath you take without rush expands the space for abundance to find you. Notice how your shoulders drop, how your back softens against the sheets, how your head feels slightly less heavy. Let that smallness lengthen, let the unhurriedness become your real inheritance. If you feel behind, remember, only people chasing someone else's measure lose their place. But time expands and time forgives. No one can occupy your becoming but you, and you do not need to submit receipts to your own spirit. Tonight, nothing is missing, nothing is lacking proof. What if your mere being was all the sacred evidence required in this breath, in this pause, in this immeasurable now? Somewhere in the quiet hours before memory, a soft choice echoed with absolute clarity. You said yes, before you carried a body, before the signature of your name inked itself into this life, you agreed to return. Not by mistake, not by accident, but as a sacred volunteer to this unique unfolding. Almost no one remembers. Even now, most people rush or resist, doubting the reason they landed here, wondering if their arrival is just a cosmic accident, missing the steady truth humming behind every longing, every stretch for more. Others try to fill the emptiness with noise, or reach for approval as if it will confirm their reason for being. They move in cycles of wanting and worrying, believing time lost is purpose unraveled. Longing saturates the air, but fulfillment remains somewhere distant, buried, or softly denied. But in this gentle darkness, with breath slowing and thoughts finally allowed to loosen, there is space to remember what most never notice. Not everything is forgotten. Not every contract disappears beneath daylight's busyness. Some agreements, made before the first breath, travel with you like old light from a memory star. What if every ache in your chest is less a flaw and more a sacred memo? A tiny scroll unrolling from the quiet council where you chose this very task? What if the pang of thinking you're behind is just the echo of your own courage, planning a life meant for wonder and learning, not just arrival? Each restlessness might simply be a way your higher self whispers, "You came for this." You did not miss your assignment. You are not late. Even when others race ahead, building, achieving, measuring success as a tally against time, your soul remains in dialogue with something older, something wise enough to see beyond the calendar and the clock. You are not chasing, you are remembering. Pause, notice the rhythm of your breath. Inhale the possibility that you signed up for this experience, a sacred journey of recalling, reclaiming, reweaving self-trust where it once frayed. You sit here not as a mistake, but as a bearer of secret assignments. Choices, shaped in those celestial council halls, pulse within your bloodstream, a code that enlivens every dream, every strange sense that there's more. Most will forget this spiritual paperwork, choosing instead to imitate the urgency of the world. Hustle, compare, collect more, hoping to buy belonging or prove value or erase the ache of being human. Yet the ache was never proof of loss. It is a call, a bell echoing quietly, asking, remember why you came. Breathe some moments the soul remembers without words. A smell, a song, laughter at the right hour, a sudden certainty that this day, this exact breath, holds part of the meaning you once agreed to witness. Nothing is wasted, not even the waiting or the wondering or wanting. Even hesitation carves out the space where deeper trust grows roots. Imagine, for a soft moment, that between lifetimes you sat in a tender meeting with beings that loved you beyond conditions. They smiled at your fears, honored your willingness, and together you sketched this experience not for punishment but for profound expansion. You chose the timeline. You chose the gifts, the delays, the people who would both wound and wake you. Every perceived pause, every loop of uncertainty, every longing for something more was there on the map, woven in as part of your sacred curriculum. Most days, the world will whisper that you are behind, missing some essential milestone as others ascend invisible ladders. Most nights, the self will replay regrets, tallying should-haves against what-ifs. Tonight, the wisdom underneath surfaces. Under the negations and edits of daily life, your original agreement breathes. A shimmering permission, silk-threaded into your DNA, awakening whenever you rest long enough to hear your true name. Let your inhale soften the edges of old doubts. What if, far from failure or delay, your path is the music you composed before arrival, each silence, each crescendo precisely in place, written for you by you, in a council that spans stars and centuries. Feel the slow tide of belonging move through your body, the knowing that you have always been included, always been enough. There is no late, there is no lost. Rest here, let the pressure of comparison dissolve. Let what others measure fall away. In this field of deeper memory, the only timelines are those of becoming. The only currency is presence. Imagine abundance arriving not as a reward, but as recognition, a natural reunion with what you preordained, long before the world told you about scarcity. What if remembering your real assignment creates more wealth than performing for what you never truly wanted? Your nervous system can exhale now. The old contracts of rushing and proving are null and void, dissolved in the light of this sacred recall. Your money, your love, your sense of home, all just languages of self-remembrance. Stay with this breath. Even if you drift, your soul listens. Even if your mind wanders, your deeper recall continues, rewiring in the background. You did not come here to meet the world's timeline. You are the timeline. You carry blueprints older than fear, older than comparison, fresher than any regret. Every day you act from gentle presence, you fulfill your original contract, the one that says expansion is always right on time. Slowly, with each breath, you return to this agreement. You remember. You receive. You are the sacred assignment in motion, a living RSVP to your own soul's invitation. And as you surrender to sleep, the reactivation continues, quiet, steady, timeless. There is a gentle doorway, here, between one heartbeat and the next, a place where everything pauses, just long enough to be noticed. This moment, right now, is wide open. No one is asking you to hurry. There are no finish lines to chase, and nothing is slipping away in the darkness. Only this invitation to enter. Most days, life insists you move quickly. The world seems to measure living by speed and by proof, like a river rushing downhill or a clock ticking forward, always forward, even if your soul aches to sit and linger and breathe. Sometimes it feels as if you must leap to catch up, clutching for a rhythm that is always just out of reach. The calendar gathers announcements, deadlines grow teeth, and the story is that time can run out, that what is missed cannot return. But in the landscape within, urgency softens. Here, the sun rises without instruction. Flowers open early and late, unbothered by the schedule set by anyone else. A seed buried in the earth does not count the minutes before it splits. It simply listens to the steady warmth, the slow unfolding of patience beneath dark soil. Time, in its sacred immediacy, gives not pressure but promise, breath in all around. It can seem like everyone is racing for an opportunity that will vanish if not seized. As though worth is found on the far side of effort, not here where you already are. The culture of more and sooner weaves itself into bones. Achievement calls like a siren, draped in neon, assuring you that you must always reach, always grasp, or you'll wake up having missed the door entirely. It's the fear of falling behind, it sits under the heart, heavy as stone. That old ache, that haunting what if? What if everyone else knows something you don't? What if you waited too long? But the now, this now, could be a sunrise blooming over fields after a long night. It does not rush. It does not scatter. Light seeps into shadows and nothing is hurried. Every color emerges in its own sacred breath. No one tells the horizon to move faster. Every bird wakes in its own time. No notes are skipped. No warmth arrives a moment too soon. The show of becoming is unhurried. Let the pulse of time move like honey in your chest, slow and sweet. Inhale and feel into the back of your ribs, let it spread like gold leaf, featherlight along your skin. Each second is soft and spacious. No clocks are ticking within you tonight. There is only this permission to be present, right here, where nothing waits to be reclaimed or regretted. The room inside you expands with every noticing. The gentle hum of air, the quiet thrum of blood, the easy rise and fall of your chest. Each sensation is part of an unbroken now, sacred in its invitation, never wounded by rush. Every system around you can make it seem as if trust must be bargained for. as if abundance arrives strictly on someone else's schedule, as if love or money or meaning can only land if you force the door open with the right code, the right habit, the right prayer. But what if, just for tonight, you let yourself surrender the need to keep time? What if every opportunity could arrive exactly when your soul softened enough to let it in? No scrambling, no hustling, no arms outstretched in desperation. Only the gentle unfolding, like waves kissing the shore, or stars slipping into sight one by one. Breathe out and notice how even now the world turns gently on its axis. Your life, too, orbits divine possibility, not countdowns. There is no thief in the night. Abundance waits at the threshold, patient as dusk. When presence fills your body, time becomes a soft fire in your belly, not urgent but inevitable, not pressure but promise. Every desire, every pulse of wanting, blooms in correlations across your life. Where there was once a gnawing for more, let it become a glow, the kind that signals readiness, not lack. In money, in love, in the way you yearn for recognition or safety or rest, this now holds you, not as a test but as an embrace. The worthiness you thought might appear with achievement, with some imagined arrival, is already humming in your skin, drifting through your breath, kneading through the quiet parts of your spirit. Let go of counting. Let go of measuring yourself against the unspoken rules of others. The now is not measured in increments or moments lost. It is the ocean that has always contacted the shore, each wave erasing the lines drawn in sand. Tonight, the tide pulls you into presence. It is not something to win or conquer. It simply welcomes you. As the air grows heavier with peace, feel the body sink more deeply into rest. Even ambition finds its true home within this sacred immediacy, not as tension, but as the soft opening of 1,000 petals. Before, you may have run, pressed, reached, as if the gold of living waited on the other side of effort. Yet now, everything distills into the quiet altar of this breath, this second, this silent sense of enough. Allow stillness to be your only guide. Every moment stretches infinitely when you choose to notice it. Like the sky holding indigo after sunset, or the hush right before rain. No more rushing toward what's next. The invitation is clear, the time is now, and the now is never missing anything. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might soften the oldest echoes inside you about what it means to arrive, to belong, and to be right on time in your own life. What if the space between dreaming and having was not emptiness, but a secret garden growing beneath all you can see? What if your sense of being left behind was really the wisdom of your soul refusing to race at someone else's pace? What if gathering time wasn't a story of losing years, but the gentle act of finding your own rhythm again? This is not a lesson. There is nothing to master here. Each sentence is woven for your nervous system to feel safe, and your subconscious to remember its own gentleness. Here, there is nothing to achieve or prove. Every breath is an invitation to feel at home while you rest. The words are offered to recode old patterns softly, to meet those tired places in you with kindness, not correction, to seed new trust where old anxieties made a home. If you've ever watched life move ahead while you stood back, if you've silently counted up mistakes or measured your path against others, if comparison sits heavy in your belly or time feels like something lost instead of something living, this episode was made for you. Soothe the places that ache for second chances. Remind the deeper self, timing is neither punishment nor prize. It is a quiet unfolding, and you have never been late for your own becoming. So stay, drift as you listen. Let your senses fill with new truth, even if your mind floats away. Every word is chosen for the places memory can't reach, but the heart hears anyway. This journey is designed to hold you, even as you release old pressures. You don't have to listen closely. Just let the sound gather around you like a soft blanket. You are only asked to rest. The reunion begins now, and it whispers that you have always been welcome. There is a quiet moment in the softness before sleep when the mind unfurls, and something deeper begins to remember. Perhaps tonight, beneath the hush of blankets and the echoing dusk, another truth is ready to be heard, not with effort, not with urgency, but by the inward turning of gentle attention. For as long as stories have been told, becoming was imagined as a ladder, a finish line, a measuring stick pressed up against the years. One step up, then another, always chasing the vanishing horizon. But what if every forward reach was a curl, a circle, a return? Not up, not down, but deeper, deeper into the marrow of who you already are. So much of the world marks time by milestones, by the weight of unfinished checklists, by silent comparisons of who arrived on time and whose seasons run late. Here, with the breath barely moving the air, can another rhythm reveal itself. Not the ticking clock, not the race, but the tender spiral gently unwinding inward. In the spiral, you were never lost, never off path, never truly delayed. Every longing, each pause, every tangled detour, all of it turned you inwards, until the true center appeared beneath the layers you'd mistaken for lack. What if this journey was never a staircase with missing rungs, but a seashell curling in upon itself, carrying echoes of every laughter, every tear, not a line, but a living pattern, ever deepening, never undone. Most days in a waking world, people are taught to march forward, eyes fixed on ticking goals. Each year a rung, each achievement another rung, and always the shadow of not enough ahead. It's so easy to believe that falling behind is possible, that time is a quarry to be conquered, that if the outward treasures haven't arrived, the harvest is somehow late, but the spiral is patient. The spiral remembers. Here in this slow circling, there's room to be held in trust, a trust that time bends gently, and there is no outer metric for the soul's becoming. Breathing in, you might sense the curl of energy. It doesn't rush you ahead, nor pull you back. It invites you to drop lower, softer, gathering all the wisdom from each previous round. Imagine for a moment your life as a spiral staircase made not of stone, but of golden breath. Each turn isn't a step up from the old, it's a return to a deeper truth, a softer root, a more honest seeing of yourself. First, there might be the urge to push against the spiral, to flatten out the curve, and to demand a straight line of progress. That's what many do: gather haste, stack pressure, cling to the myth that peace only comes after every box is checked, their hearts moving outward, always hunting the future. Notice how heavy that feels, as if every not yet becomes a brick, as if the sense of falling behind knots the body tight, the chest turning in, the breath shrinking, the soul receding to the back. Let an exhale slip free now. Imagine instead a spiral pool, not still, not stagnant, but always circling inward. A gentle current quietly transforming the surface of things. You are not getting further from your purpose each day. With each worry, each question, each tender heartbreak, you travel closer to a center that has always been yours. It's not that you left home and need to find your way back. It's that the journey itself is the returning, each round a re-meeting of your quiet power, your original spark. If money has felt like an unfinished promise, a door always just out of reach, What if that longing is really a spiral too? Every cycle brings new understanding, new chances to soften your grip and let worth land in a deeper layer of you. If in love you've wondered if you missed your moment, if the right partnership or communion is lost in the past in the spiral, all timing is divine. No bond is wasted. Each echo teaches presence, a fuller receiving of what's here now. And if safety or belonging slips through your grasp, remember, the spiral draws you home, again and again, through each lesson, each letting go, inviting every part of you to return to center. Breathe in again, feel the gentle twirl beneath your ribs. There's no need to force the next turn, no demand to accelerate. Every revolution enriches the story, layering more grace with each pass. Before, perhaps there was a longing to hurry, to catch up, to measure your life by others' timelines. Now, what changes if you allow yourself this spiral journey? What if it was always meant to unfold at its own sacred tempo? Maybe the spiral is a tapestry, threads repeating but never identical, each color deepening as you move through. Or maybe it's a river that curves back on itself, catching sunlight in new ways with every bend, or a labyrinth where every path rejoins the center. No matter how many steps are taken, let your body rest in the truth of this. There is nothing to fix. There is only a deeper arriving again and again and again. You have never fallen behind. You have never been late. You are always, in every breath, becoming, but never leaving yourself behind. Let that spiral hold you for a little while longer. Let each breath wind you closer inward, softer, gentler, whole. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight, something gentle is waiting for you, the idea that maybe purpose was never meant to be hunted or hurried. Maybe, in the hush of this nighttime, the truth can finally find you instead. What if not knowing was a kind of trust? What if timing kept its own silent promises on your behalf? What if your journey could be shaped more by soft listening than striving? No effort required here, only the slow, safe return to yourself. Each sentence is layered to soothe your mind, to help your body remember how it feels to feel safe and in sync with its own rhythm. You don't have to solve, chase, prove, not for the next hour. Just rest as these words remind some ancient part of you that has always felt the pull of something more. As if you've been weighed down by worry or haunted by what if I missed it. Let this be a lullaby for the uneasy parts inside. Stay here a while. Even if you drift away, you'll still receive exactly what's meant for you. Let it sink in, you don't have to try. Let it surround you now. Soften your body. One last inhale. Let the air press past what lingers, what tightens in the chest, what curls into old doubt. The question always finds its way home to the quiet. Is it too late? Has the moment passed? Has something irreplaceable drifted out of reach while you were catching your breath, learning your own name, resting your tired heart for just a beat? A sigh moves through the room. Maybe you sense regret, the weight of invisible clocks, battles lost to comparison. Maybe you've paced stories of not enough, tracing outlines of a life you were meant to live, somewhere far off, just behind a door that never opened in time. And comparison weaves 1,000 anxious threads. Should I have leapt sooner, loved bolder, claimed louder, trusted faster? Did I let the most precious longing waste away in silence? Let that question rest for a moment. Just let it float, uncarved, unnamed. The ache that says you should have known or done or become. Exhale it, one breath at a time. There is no door you missed that could keep you from the home of yourself. Most people haunt their own timelines, sifting through years as if lost treasure lies only in what was not found, in the joy missed, the risks not taken, the words unspoken. They measure abundance by what slipped through grasping fingers, not what pulsed in secret through every inhale, every heartbreak, every act of staying alive. There is an entire world built on chasing, on chronic arrival, on the illusion that enough is somewhere else, sometime else, some other self. Maybe that is what you inherited, the math of absence, the rule that said only the fast are blessed, only the first win, only urgency is worthy of reward. Maybe you trained your nervous system to hear the footsteps of time as threat instead of music. Maybe you scanned for scarcity even in gardens of plenty. Allow those maps to soften. Breathe gently. Every exhale, a letting go of the old arithmetic. Money is not kept in vaults of the past. Love never closes its window to the soul who is willing still. Safety is not locked in what you missed, but offered in this humble, holy pause. Presence, this simple arrival, rewrites every story. It says you were always the right one, in the right room, even if you entered late, even if you didn't introduce yourself at all. It whispers that doors can open from the inside. It testifies that what you seek did not pass you by. It waits quietly for the moment you remember it was always meant for you. What if every wound of too late is actually a soft threshold? An invitation to cradle yourself kindly. What if you are not behind, but in rhythm? What if the path you are on is the exact measure of rightness, so subtle only divine timing itself could orchestrate it? Feel the hush inside the chest. Place a gentle hand over the heart if you want, and sense that every longing, every flicker of what could have been, still shimmers somewhere, untouched by time. Before you dissolve into sleep, let an unseen mercy sweep through trust, dust off the shelves of all your almosts. Let it bless the work you did, the pauses you took, the starts and stops of becoming. Money is a rhythm, not a race. There is stillness in soul wealth that cannot be hurried, cannot be rushed. The truest kind of abundance waits like a gentle friend, not a closing door. The pace of your blooming is sacred. There is nothing unworthy here but the belief that you are late to your own life. Somewhere love wrote its promise on your bones, not as a condition, not as a finish line, only as patience, as breath, as presence. You were always inside the story. Even when you feared you'd been written out, the pen kept moving, the plot curved back towards you, the chapter opened when you thought the book was closing. Maybe you felt lost in those years that felt unremarkable, the seasons you could not force to blossom. Maybe you grieved all the time you thought you wasted, all the trust you dared not invest. But listen. What if unfolding quietly was the most loyal thing your soul could do? What if growth is not about catching up, but about dropping in gently where you have always belonged? Let your jaw release. Let your tongue rest against the roof of your mouth. Breathe and let the thought of starting over fade, replaced by a rising ease, a sense that nothing essential is running away from you. Every inhale finds you still. Feel the ground below and know it does not rush you. There is no bell, no alarm, only the silence of permission. Even as you drift, reweaving all that felt frayed, lost, late, something unshakable holds you here. Trust the sacred laziness of dreams that choose their own timeline. In wealth, in safety, in love that returns without demand, presence multiplies what pressure cannot. Divine timing was never meant to punish or scold, only to invite you into a new arrangement with reality. The timeline is round, the invitation remains. Every present moment is an open hand, not a closed fist. Sink here, sink even further. With every slow breath, every slowing of the heart, know you are returned to the story, never locked out, never too late. Let mercy be the last thing you taste before sleep. Let the quiet be proof that rightness pulses here, now, as you are. There is a soft darkness now, not empty, but full, like the hush before dawn when every wish and memory gathers in gentle arms. You are drifting down, down, lower than thoughts. Past the noise of another day measured and tallied and tucked away, time itself unspools and slows. Nothing chasing you, nothing running out. What breathes here is quiet, an ancient holding, a safe uncoiling, where the rush and the reaching can finally lay themselves down. Everywhere, for so long, there were clocks, there were calendars. There were voices whispering that if you didn't hurry, you might miss the one window, the only train. The chance that would never circle back. But here, in this letting go, you return to the part of you that remembers. The calendar was never sovereign. The soul is not late. The path cannot vanish, not truly. The map is inside you, gold-inked and glimmering. Even when no one else can see it, you are not behind. Behind is a myth spun by weary minds. You are not wandering lost, but weaving your own silent masterpiece with every breath that slips in and dissolves. What if every night of uncertainty, every pause you carried like a secret shame, was actually a preparation? What if your seasons of stillness, those old winters and long waits, were incubation, not delay? Imagine the orchard asleep in frost, its roots dreaming deep, its branches cradling potential beneath silence. Nothing is wasted in that hush. The tree is not angry at the snow. This is your time of receiving now. Let the sense of needing to catch up soften, unravel, fall away. No ghosts of missed chances. Only invitations to trust that what left you was never yours to keep, and what seeks you now comes in its own blessed hour. Breathe here. Sink lower still, as if you are returning to warm water, to a current that has known you longer than memory. You can release the story that it should have happened sooner. Every seed answers to its own hour of sunlight, and you are not late. It all begins again, tonight, in the gentle yielding to sufficiency. Notice the body, a slow warmth melting shoulder, jaw, hand, in this place. Even your muscles remember that presence is the only currency that grows by being spent. What if you could trust that rest is a signal to the universe, a sign not of idleness, but readiness to receive? Ease is not passivity. Softness is not absence. Here you are opening. You are porous to abundance,